Thank you for joining us again. Another episode of Rebuilding the Black Family with David Grant and myself, Carl Lewis. Really blessed that you're with us. And I want to encourage you again to please like our program episodes and subscribe to our podcast. You know, for today's program, we have a very interesting program for you about entrepreneurship. One of the pillars of the success of any community is entrepreneurship and business. And so in building strong, vibrant, self-sufficient Black families and communities, it is essential that we emphasize the importance of Black-owned businesses. So you want to stay tuned for this episode of Rebuilding the Black Family today. And so we're going to look at the elements or the keys to starting, sustaining, and maintaining and building strong, successful businesses. And so David Grant, as an excellent guest today, you'll want to tune in to hear what he has to say about the importance of entrepreneurship and how you can build your business.
Thank you, Brother Carl, for that wonderful intro. I look forward to this program. We have with us Brother Courtney Frazier, who is a both business and criminal lawyer. I'm going to read his bio because I think it's quite wonderful, his journey to even get to this point, and then we'll get right into it. So here we have Courtney Frazier. He received his paralegal license in 2011 and then started his own practice. He received his bachelor's in sociology in 2014 and then received his law degree in 2018 and wrote the bar and articled in 2019. He articled in criminal law, but during the pandemic, he broadened his practice to include both business law as well as helping entrepreneurs. In 2020, he started a not-for-profit organization called Legacy United. The purpose is to provide resources and support to vulnerable members of our community. They conduct different programs and activities throughout the year, most notably their mentorship program, which is currently taking place. His legal firm called Frazier & Associates Legal Group offers a number of services to entrepreneurs and businesses such as consultations, incorporations, and contract negotiations and drafting. Courtney also practices criminal law as well as serves as a notary public. All of his contact and coordinates for his information will be seen at the bottom of this video. Courtney, that is quite the profile, quite an extensive and diverse profile, brother. Happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I want to say hello to the audience and everyone who's listening and watching. It's great to be here, man.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, let's get into it. So I'm going to pull up my questions because I think this is an important topic because, entrepreneurship has, there's so many ways to look at it and there's so many different ways to be an entrepreneur. There's not a one size fits all way of doing it, right? And, especially in our community, I think just with what we've been through in terms of working in respective institutions that we don't control, that we have no ownership of, unfortunately, that makes us more susceptible to be mistreated and therefore feeling like we have no way of getting out because we don't control it. Versus with entrepreneurship, and you could probably talk more about this, there clearly is a difference. There's, I guess, a bit more control. There's a bit more autonomy to be able to do what it is that you want to do as it pertains to your dreams or aspirations or whichever. So my first question is I presume you have clients cross-culturally, right?
Yeah.
But in your experience working with Black people specifically, what has it been in terms of providing legal advice when it comes to businesses? What has been your experience in working with them? What have we done well? What do we need to improve on? I think that'd be good to start, and then the other questions we'll get into it.
So I've been working with Black business owners for a few years now. I would say from 2020 though, it became my everyday thing. I love entrepreneurial energy. It makes me feel like I'm in school working on a project with the smart kids.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than, like I said, I do criminal law too, and nothing against my criminal clients, but I rather put my energy towards building things than towards always going up in front of this judge trying to escape some trouble or something like that, right?
Okay, I feel you. Yeah.
So I'll just give you a quick little recap of my 2020.
Go ahead, yeah.
So I'm working for my mentor with his within his criminal practice, and then I already had a paralegal license coming in, and I had my law degree, and I was looking to get started on I always knew I was going to work for myself regardless, because I've been an entrepreneur since 2011. My first business, my law business has been my first business.
Your paralegal business.
Yeah, my paralegal. Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
so
okay.
I already had familiarity with running a little practice, getting clients, marketing, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I knew I was going to work for myself. So I remember the dates specifically. So basically, March 14th, 2020, that was going to be my last day. It was a Friday with my boss, right? I told him, like, I'd asked for a raise. He couldn't give me it. And I understand, because I asked for like a higher, it was a much higher raise.
Yeah.
Than what he was. It was probably like double than what he was giving me.
Woo!
Right?
Yeah.
But that was kind of looking back, I kind of feel like I gave him that price because I felt like I can make more than that on my own anyways.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You knew your worth.
I had a little experience, and he had taught me so much things. So
of course,
applying my work ethic and what I knew already with what he had taught me, I knew I could make a lot more. So March 14th was my last day. I'm thinking, March 16th, I'm gonna go to court for my clients as usual, and everything is gonna be gravy. My business is gonna steam ahead. Like,
of course.
I get to court March 16th. It's a Monday morning, and for the first time in my life, court is closed. Nobody can come in.
Oh,
because COVID. That was the day that Canada just said lockdown.
Yes.
So now, if you're a criminal lawyer, and court's closed, there's nothing for you to do.
I was about to say you have
there's
no
business. Lawyers make money off of billable hours. Accountants probably too. A lot of people. Doctors get paid by the hour. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if courts close, what was there for you to do?
Wow. So
which criminal needs you if he's not going to jail?
It's true.
Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I literally went home and I just thought like in the back of my mind I was thinking like, damn, I should have stayed. Sorry for my language.
No, it's okay.
I'm like, this decision right now, like I made a horrible decision at the time, because I was thinking like, if I was with my boss, he'd probably find something for me to do, because he was a busy guy, a busy lawyer. He always has trials and everything going on. So, but at the end of so I sat home for a little bit, and then luckily, like, his wife, she was a lawyer. She's a retired lawyer. She now runs one of the colleges in the city. She's a black. These are black people as well.
I was about to say, are
really
these like
this is like this,
come
this,
on
this
now.
is like the Huxtables.
Hey,
this is probably like the
wow,
Huxtables though.
Wow,
But,
that's beautiful.
So she was a lawyer herself, and she is like she is on the board of a college in Toronto. So there was a book that he had at his house about cannabis law. I had taken from him. So she knew I had taken the book and I read it, whatever. So she approached me to design a course based on cannabis law and to teach it. Right?
Okay, and where would you be teaching it?
I was teaching it virtually because schools are closed too.
Oh, so
it was a good opportunity.
That was a great
like,
opportunity.
I could work from home, whatever, and do that. So I did that. While I'm doing that, I'm just seeing so much businesses go under.
Yeah.
So because the government's offering support, but the support is coming late. Right.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses, if they don't make payroll this month, they're gone. If they don't have income coming in this month, they're gone. Right.
Wow.
And the government was telling you, oh, no one's allowed to come into your establishment.
So then,
unless you're essential, exactly. If you're retail, think about it. If you're retail and you have a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 lease, whatever you do, whatever business you have, if you have expenses, you have people you have to pay, and now your customers can't come inside your establishment.
Yeah.
So if you haven't already conformed to the digital marketplace, you're behind.
You're behind, yeah.
The funding is coming late. So I'm seeing people go under. So then something just clicked. I feel like I needed to help these people.
Yeah,
like
of course.
I needed
Here
to
we go. You want to fill a niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I just feel like these people are gonna need somebody. And I felt like I know how the economy works. People are losing their businesses, but whenever there's times of uncertainty, that's when you're going to see new entrepreneurs and new innovations and stuff like that, right? So there's going to be a lot of new business owners, and I just felt like I just wanted to help them too.
Yeah.
Right.
So Courtney, you're already taking us into so many good nuggets of wisdom when it comes to the importance of entrepreneurship and keeping the theme with the title, right?
I was going to tell you why it's so important. I was going to tell you why it's so important.
No, I was about to say that was going to be my next question. So go right ahead. Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is important because the government can't provide jobs for everybody in the community. It's impossible for the government on just taxpayer money alone to provide jobs for everybody. They need entrepreneurs to be innovative and to create jobs. Create jobs and create wealth for the economy, so money can be distributed and stuff like that. Without entrepreneurs, the economy wouldn't run. Right? If we would be a communist country if we didn't have entrepreneurs.
It's true, because then everything belonged to the state. No,
exactly.
It's true.
So that's why entrepreneurship is so big. I don't know if people know this, but even the tax code that we have, it's basically influenced by entrepreneurs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's entrepreneurs that try and get exceptions to taxes. The working person, they're just gonna pay what you tell them to pay, because they already have the job, and you know, they're not really gonna stand up about taxes. It's the entrepreneur who's gonna find loopholes. The investor is gonna find loopholes, and how can I not get taxed for this income that I'm making on the side of this and that?
You could be more innovative.
Yes, trust me, entrepreneurs. Without entrepreneurs, we just wouldn't enjoy the life that we enjoy. The government implements things too slow. They're not at the forefront of technologies. We leave that up to the technology companies. You know what I'm saying? It's not the government's job to do that anyways. The government's job is to help us regulate some type of standard between you and I's relationship or conduct with each other. Whether it be, how do we respect each other's bodies? How do we respect each other's property? Stuff like that, right? So that's why entrepreneurship is so important, because without entrepreneurship, you and I don't have jobs. I don't think you work for I don't think you work for the government.
So no. So I'm split. So I have my own private therapy practice, right? Which you know, I'm self-employed. I have my own clients. I market my own stuff. But then I also work for CAMH. You know, I work as a therapist in the SAPAC program, I think, as you and I have talked about. So I guess I have one foot in, one foot out. But initially I started, when I came back from UConn in the end of 2021, I started full-on entrepreneur, right? Getting my own clients, doing my own thing, making my own hours, setting up my own tax, all of that. So I definitely know all about that. And
even with working with CAMH, I don't know your specific situation, but you may be just hired as a contractor, or you may be an employee.
I'm an employee currently.
Of CAMH. Okay.
But I know there is that option of being a contractor.
Getting straight pay and stuff like that. But then you won't get the benefits and stuff like that they offer. But if you have a family, it's sometimes it makes more sense just to take the benefits, because then all your kids and your wife can get on your benefits as well.
So you know what? Talk more about that, because that then leads us into the pros and cons of entrepreneurship, right? So tell me, because you know, there's maybe some people listening or watching in who may say, okay, you know, Courtney's making some good points. You know, it's entrepreneurs that drive the economy. It's entrepreneurs that are the innovators of our generation, of our respective society. They're the ones that are helping push technology and education and things like that. But that sounds like it takes a lot of guts, and there's a lot of risks involved. Like, how does somebody, you know, negotiate with that? What are the pros and cons of entrepreneurship?
Okay, the pros. I'll start off with the pros. I like to get sometimes you like to get the sweet stuff first, right?
Yeah, of course.
You work for yourself. You set your own hours. You have your own workload. You don't have to answer to anybody. You do have to answer to your clients, your customers, stuff like that.
Yep.
But there's no one over you, like, to say, hey, do this, do that, you know. It really falls on you. So it's what you can handle. You can take on as much as you can handle. You pay yourself. You basically, if you're maybe a sole proprietor, or you have a corporation but you're the only shareholder, you're the only owner, after the expenses, the profit's all yours.
It's yours,
right? Say you have a job, and you work at a car dealership. You sell 100 cars, right? You're not gonna get paid for. You're not gonna get, like, if the profit off of each car was maybe 10,000-15,000, you're not gonna get 10,000-15,000 off each car you sold.
Well, no,
it's gonna go to the owner. The owner's gonna pay you your salary, maybe your bonuses, your commission from paying that stuff. If you're the entrepreneur, if you're the owner, you take what's left after the expenses. Sometimes that's a pro. Sometimes that's a con, because you might be the last one to get paid in your own business, and you may end up, after you pay payroll and expenses, your lease, equipment, loans, whatever, you might end up with a small piece of the pie. But entrepreneurs have like a great sense of faith where they push forward with the belief that one day this is going to turn around. One day this is going to turn around because
So
we've
they're
seen
visionaries.
it.
They're
Yes.
visionaries.
You
Yeah.
have to be, because
Yeah.
you've seen it with other corporations. You've
Of
seen it with
course.
other entrepreneurs. You've seen people build establishments and institutions that have lasted 100, 150, 200 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Legacies. Yeah.
So someone had to build it. There was, at the start of it, there was always a man or a woman who was an entrepreneur, right? So that's the pros. The cons, it's an emotional roller coaster. That's number one.
Okay.
But working at a bad job could be an emotional roller coaster as well.
That's a fair point.
Right?
It's a fair point.
But entrepreneurship is an emotional roller coaster. It feels like you're raising almost a child. I remember in law school, I had like a whiteboard in my dorm, and I wrote on it in the middle of it, your business is your baby, and no one's gonna raise it as good as you. You know, and all the any notes that I put on the whiteboard, I put around that quote because it's true. No one's with your practice, you could hire whoever you want to hire.
Yeah.
But as long as your name is on the checks, no one's gonna care for that business as
true.
much as you.
It's true.
So everything falls on you, even if it wasn't your responsibility. Like say something with accounting was off, or
Yeah.
somebody handled a client without your
Incorrectly.
knowing.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
It falls back on you. People always look at the
True.
owner at the top.
It's
Everything
true.
starts
You're
at the
the
top.
face of the company.
You're the face,
Ah,
right?
Yeah. It's the same thing with Apple. If something's wrong, people are like, "What's wrong with Steve Jobs?" Right?
Yeah.
Something's wrong with Microsoft. What's wrong with Bill
Bill
Gates?
Gates.
You know, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You know, it's.
Look at Elon Musk.
I was about to say
Elon
with
Musk is
Tesla.
the most charismatic entrepreneur within the limelight, right? And look, he goes on a show. He smokes a joint. The stock in his company goes up and down.
It's true. Wow.
You know?
when you really think about, who's
So
the face of the company?
he's a man that can affect a lot of business with just
Yeah.
his words.
Yeah.
He affected the stock price on Twitter just by saying he's gonna buy it. He didn't even end
Yeah.
up buying it.
It's true.
So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? He's a guy that he can move a lot of money either way just by the things he says.
It's true, and I guess you even give other examples like LeBron James. When you look at LeBron James, as much as people want to say about him, he has like a very clean, blemish-free record in terms of not only in basketball but outside of basketball. And we think of all the different business ventures that he has. I mean, he's done Space Jam, and he has his I Promise school. And I guess in hearing what you're saying, he's probably maintained that because of his character. But on top of that, he's also had to maintain that in order to retain a lot of the profits from his various ventures, because he is the face of his school. He is the face of certain endorsements and other endeavors in the community. And so when you think about that, yeah, as much as you said, there's a lot of the pros in terms of making your own hours and being your own boss. That's what people advertise. Behind that is the emotional roller coaster where people, let's say, under you are messing up, or certain issues occur, and it all falls back on you, and you have to take care of that. And that can be a lot of pressure for, I guess, a lot of people.
Yes, even something like cash flow. Like you make sale. You had great sales this month of June.
Yeah.
But July, that could be a slow period for you.
It's true. And how are you going to cope with that?
Right?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to being an entrepreneur, everything falls back on you.
Yeah.
I was gonna get it. I was just gonna jump into something randomly, but as a
Go ahead.
lawyer, when I was deciding which law practices I was like, what type of practice I was gonna have, I would go on Google Analytics and I would look at the most search words when it comes to law and the month, right?
Yeah.
And I could see like for a family lawyer, December was their busiest month. Because around Christmas
time.
couples are fighting.
I was about to say custody issues.
Like if
I used to work in child welfare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Divorce is the biggest. Divorce is like it's the most Googled word in December, right after the holidays. Wow. Maybe your family comes over.
I didn't know that.
Maybe your family's fighting with your spouse.
Yeah.
Like the in-laws are fighting. Oh, I
Wow.
can't take it here no more. I'm
I'm
calling
out.
a lawyer. Remember what we were speaking about?
We were just
the
talking
Monday morning
Yes,
phone call
after the weekend.
when you've
Everything
had
sets in.
time to think.
Yeah.
The holidays, you have a good week or two. You're off work. You're in this house with this person. You know what? I hate the way that she makes this pie. Some so stupid. But
that will say, I'm gonna.
you know what? I don't like when
take medicine.
I don't like when your mom comes over here and stays and
Wow.
she like and you know that stuff happens.
Wow.
I'm weird. I Google all those kind of stats. I
That's
Google
important.
in America the highest. It's sad, but the highest frequency of domestic violence happens on the night of the Super Bowl, when men have lost their bets.
Yep.
And then they get in fights with their wives.
Wow.
It's the number one day for domestic violence calls. Whatever day the Super Bowl is, that will be the highest day for domestic violence calls. I thought about family law and everything like that, but I hate getting in between families.
Trust me. Yeah, it's a tough gig, especially me. I used to work in the child welfare sector.
Yeah.
And I echo everything you're saying. We will have a influx of issues after the summer into September. So September, child welfare files are through the roof because kids come back, they disclose what happened throughout the summer. So then if you're a child protection lawyer, September, even October, you're busy, right? And then
I have a child protection lawyer in my office. You never got to come to my office, but
Yeah.
I'm right around your office. But I'm gonna introduce you to her.
We should chat. Yeah,
when you
her and
come,
I should
because
chat.
she's busy all the time.
September, I could probably say September, June, just before school closes out because they're going into the summer, and December.
Yeah.
But actually not December, January, because after the Christmas break. Again, when the kids come back to school, because schools and police, the police department are the two major referrals for child protection, right? And so that in line with family law, as you're saying, divorce law, all of that, as you said, when you have all that ample time to really think and reminisce, including the children, right?
Yeah.
Because there's even people who are, children's lawyers, right?
Yeah.
When these kids come and they're saying, "Yeah, hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, Christmas was crazy. Mom's got beat up by dad again."
Yeah.
Oh, and then now you have a
They
case.
just throw
right?
it out there.
They just throw it out there because,
Yeah,
as you
I've seen
said,
the cases, man.
They have a lot of these cases. So, Courtney, you're saying some good stuff, and essentially what I hear you saying is like, even when you're talking about your journey as an entrepreneur, it's a key word is that innovation, right? That determination of what gap you want to fill. The fact that you said in your mind, hold on, let me look up most Googled words at this frequency. What are the metrics at this time?
I went deeper than that, man.
Yeah.
I would Google like if you can find anything on Google. And
Yeah,
the
of
government
course.
keeps stats of so much things. So
algorithm,
I'd be on Stats Canada. I'd be looking up so the government, if you look, you can find out what was the frequency of charges.
Yeah.
And how much charges each jurisdiction was laying on people, how often it was defended, how often it was self-rep, how often it was a guilty plea, how often.
You were searching this all up.
Yeah, because I figure like, okay, if I'm going into this, there's 50,000 lawyers in Ontario.
Yeah.
So I'm figuring, okay, they all work in different practices.
Yeah.
Let me see how busy it is. Let me see how busy it is in Peel with this. I even thought about like, because once if you decide you're gonna do criminal law,
Yeah.
the next thing is, what are you gonna specialize in? Are you gonna do DUIs? Are you gonna do murders? Are you gonna do sexual assaults? Are you gonna do guns and gangs? Are you gonna do drugs? So you want to see what's the pool that, like, if there's 5,000 drug cases a year, you're splitting that 5,000 with these
however
other
many
lawyers that specialize in that as well, right?
Yeah.
So just like it's just market research basically.
Yeah.
And that's important to every entrepreneur.
Of course.
Right? So you want to know what's the pool and how much of the market you can get and from when you're starting out, and you have to have goals as to how much you want to obtain,
Yes. So in that same breath, a question that comes to mind is, when for instance, when we're thinking about entrepreneurs, when we're thinking about black businesses, right? And any black person, even after this, can take a quick Google search just to validate what I'm saying. The challenge that I found is, even when we're trying to fill this niche, I feel like, and you tell me if this has been your experience when you work with different black businesses, is that we sometimes oversaturate certain fields in our community. So from what I see, you do a quick Google search on like Buy Blacks, on I think Afrobiz. And my next friend, she has Black Execs, which is another black business directory. And
shout out
black
owned TO.
Black owned TO, thank you.
Yeah,
Shout out
yeah.
Black owned TO. It's oftentimes food, aesthetics, i.e., barbering, beauty, beauty and aesthetics, fashion.
Yeah.
Sometimes law, right? Law and real estate, I think, are on the up and coming, right? Law and real estate, but as agents, not per se as mortgage brokers
or as
developers,
brokerage, people that actually own brokerages.
Own brokerages, right? So those are essentially the fields. And you know, but then when we're talking, let's say, because when we're talking entrepreneur, we're talking somebody who works for himself. So you could be a doctor and be an entrepreneur, a dentist. You could be an engineer and have your own firm. You could be a contractor and have your own firm, an electrician, plumber. But I find that, you know, as a therapist, there's even a growing number of, you know, black therapists. I mean, still a lower number of black male therapists, but there's a lot more black women going and starting their own practices. But that's like what I mentioned, like maybe 4, 5, 6 fields. But then there's a plethora of these others where we have imminent needs and we're not being served, right? Do you is that been your experience when you're working with black people and, you know, you know, who are coming with these different businesses? Do we oversaturate when it comes to the entrepreneurship field?
I feel okay. Let me just. This is my theory on it. Number one, the community. You could look at it like this. Number one, the community is not educated on a number of things. The community is not educated on the importance of mental health.
Yeah,
and that's number one. So you have to get before you can even sell something to someone. You have to educate them on why they need this. If you sell vacuums, if you sell Dyson vacuums, you have to explain to them why a Dyson vacuum. Before the vacuums, the housewife was content with just a broom and a mop.
It's true. It's true.
You know,
to sell,
it would take her probably all day just to beat this carpet outside in the backyard.
Yeah, it's true.
So you gotta explain that. Now they have the robo vacuum.
Yeah. So
you gotta explain that now you don't even have to push it. You have to educate, right? Before cars, before Henry Ford was selling cars, people were satisfied with riding horse and carriage, right? So you have to educate people on why they need this service first. And then when we talk about it, and then these aren't tangible. Like therapy is not like a tangible service. You can't hold it. It's not a product that you can hold. Your mind, you some people have a hold of it, some people don't.
Yeah.
So if you look at it like that.
Yep.
So that's number one. Number two, representation matters. So growing up, a therapist is like, I don't know what age you wanted to be a therapist at, but did you know any black therapists growing up?
I knew I wanted to work. I knew from a young age I wanted to study the mind of not just people, but especially black people, just in considering what we've been through and why we engaged in what we did. But I didn't know none, right? I would see it on TV and I'm like, okay, I think that's something that maybe we need. But I didn't know of any. So no, to answer your question, I didn't.
I didn't see any black lawyers, right?
Yeah.
What do we see? We see people playing ball.
Yep.
We see people acting. You see
people rapping,
singing, dancing, stuff like that. You never saw the black CEO.
No.
You know, you never even saw a movie where a man played a black CEO. In movies, we see black pimps, black gangsters, black drug dealers, black, whether it be prostitutes.
Yep. And
these are the ones that are these are the roles that are winning awards.
And these are the versions of entrepreneurship that our youth see.
Yeah.
Because technically they could say, well, I work for myself. The pimp could say I work for myself. The drug dealer could say I work for myself. The sex worker, the prostitute could say I work for myself. The stripper could say that she's an independent contractor for the gentleman's club, right? Yeah. And so as you're saying, you can't be what you don't see.
Yeah.
Essentially what I hear you saying.
And as black people, let's be honest, we're immigrants to this country. We're not coming from another country with assets. The only thing we're coming with is our culture. So we're only coming with our food to sell. We're only coming with the way our garbs and our garments, the way that we dress, the way that we do our hair. We're selling culture. When you see black athletes, I mean, LeBron. You talk about LeBron James is an anomaly.
He is, yeah.
Last week they announced he just became a billionaire. He's still playing. LeBron James has made more money off endorsements than he's ever made off of the NBA, and he's made hundreds, maybe 200 million off playing in the NBA. Yeah. But before LeBron James played a game in the NBA, he already had a $90 million contract with Sprite.
Yes.
So you know what I'm saying? This is when he's 18. Before he even played an NBA game, they already locked him up.
It was in endorsements that he made his money.
Endorsements. Like you said, his image is great. Yeah. Companies want to stand next to LeBron James. A lot of times as black people, we sell culture. So we sell culture, we sell appearance. The things that you named out, the businesses that are oversaturated that you named out, they all deal with culture and appearance, right? True. These other jobs, therapy,
dentistry, pharmacy,
there's no camera on that. There's no glitter on that. It's behind the camera. It's behind the scenes, you know? Yeah. So
sorry, I'll let you finish.
I just feel like the representation is not there on those jobs. We don't know. It's hard for you to want to be something that you haven't seen anyone do. Yeah. You know, you have to draw a connection through something. That's why we started the whole Legacy United, the nonprofit, because
Yeah.
we wanted to support people that look like us.
Yes.
So I have a number of black boys, and I brought in professionals one day, black
Yes.
professionals, so that they could see like, hey, this is a black police officer. Hey, this is a black guy in tech.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a lawyer. I had finance guys in finance.
Yeah, very good.
It's important for them to see black men hold these positions, because the chances of them filling these positions later on in life goes up. That they've seen a black man hold this position.
It's true.
But when you've only seen the drug dealer, the pimp, the gangster, whatever it may be, what else are you gonna? How high are you gonna strive above that when that's the common image in your mind?
Yeah.
You know.
So, man, that's so important. That's so deep because again, it's the visuals are so important. Is what you're saying? The representation.
The most important thing. We don't have nothing to draw from.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's great blacks in Africa.
Yeah.
But we're not going to turn on the TV and see them. BT's not even owned by a black organization or
They're
a black
not.
man or anything like that.
They're not.
You know.
Used to, and then we lost ownership of it. Even owned Oprah Winfrey's network is not fully owned by her.
No,
right?
but you're gonna have investors. Sometimes you can't fund everything by yourself.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. The owner, I believe, oh my gosh, he's South Asian. He's a South Asian man. I can't remember if he owns the Sacramento Kings,
Okay.
or he owns a team in the NFL. But he's a South Asian man. He may own the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
He was trying to start his own. He was starting his own BT. It was called Black. It was called Black. It was a BT, but it wasn't called BT because BT's already taken.
Yeah.
But he was starting his own.
Wow.
Black entertainment type
Yeah.
television channel.
Wow.
And he was running it for like a little bit, but then I guess the expenses were too high. He just said, "Let me just shut it
got
down."
rid of it. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. So
it's selling culture.
it's selling culture.
You know,
again.
and if we don't sell our culture, someone else is gonna sell it for us.
But I guess
so we might as well.
But then and because there's one more question I want to ask just as we're wrapping up. I guess the piece is as on one hand we're selling the culture because as you said, when we're coming with just the clothes on our back and we're coming with the food,
recipes that we have.
hair braiding, barbershop, and then and maybe the odd real estate agent, but that's only been recent, right? Odd lawyer now, but again, that's only been recent.
Yeah.
My other piece is why we may say we sell we that's our priority when we are in need of those other non-tangible services. Law, right? And not just criminal law, but we're talking, as you said, business law, human rights law, divorce law, whichever.
I think black people need to look more into estates law and have
Estate
wills.
law, right? Thank you.
have wills.
But we don't realize we need it until we're in these predicaments.
Yeah.
Same thing even as a therapist. It's like, I don't need a therapist until your son, starts talking to himself. And now I'm getting calls on Monday and Tuesday morning like, David, so what do I do? My son just teared up the house and said that the devil's after him. Now all of a sudden they're like, we're the black male therapist. And I'm like, well, we've been trying to explain to you the importance. And now when you're in this rut, now when, you didn't create a will and now your sister's trying to take dad's assets and you're like, but I'm entitled to it. Sister didn't even have any play.
Yeah.
Why is it that, we wait until that point? I guess is it to your point because we don't know what we don't know.
It's just the education.
It's the education pieces
it's
that
the mentorship
that can help mitigate some of those pieces. What you're saying,
like our parents who mentored them when they got here. If they had mentors, their mentors were just telling them how they can get citizenship and how they can get maybe housing, maybe how they can get government assistance, stuff like that. What were they being? They're like I don't know about your parents, but my parents are first generation immigrants. They came straight from Jamaica.
Yeah, my dad. And
Yeah.
well, actually, both my mom and my dad. My mom came from England. Her family went from Jamaica to England. They did the trifecta.
Yeah.
Then England to Canada. My dad, he came straight from Jamaica.
Yeah.
With his parents came and then they sent for him later on.
You could be even if you're an Asian man or European man, as long as you're an immigrant, your first priority is mostly going to be survival, unless you've really built a.
But what about the East Asians? The East Asians come and survival, and then
they be looking nice too. Like I remember one time I was in class,
Yeah.
and then there was a guy in my class, and we were leaving. He hopped into a 6 Series. This is my undergrad, and I'm just like, brother, why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, why are you here? Like,
Yeah.
you look like you were ready. You know,
Yeah,
you
you're
look like
good.
you're really good. Oh, his parents like, if I don't get this degree, my parents will take all this back. Like, this parents probably live in China or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
just
of course,
telling me
of course.
this, you know.
Yeah.
So I understand. Like, he's supposed to do something. Maybe he's supposed to build something. So maybe
yeah, of course.
they're building for like, hey, maybe someone else from the family can come over here, or maybe I can expand my dad's business across the globe.
Yeah,
you know,
but
stuff like that.
they're essentially creating a legacy and maintaining that legacy through generations.
Yeah.
So my last question, just in terms of tangibles, we always like to do tangibles for our viewers and our listeners, so that they come away with something that they can understand and be able to apply. So what would you say is the first step or couple steps to starting a business, and in any field, whether it's related to contracts, whether it's related to startup costs, whatever, like how would somebody get into doing it the proper way?
Well, the proper way, I believe, is to plan first. So you plan, you decide what type of business you're going to have. Are you going to have a business that you're going to have to work there, or are you going to have a business where you might hire management to come work there and you're just the owner?
Yeah.
What are you going to sell? What's your offer to the world? I still believe that's important. Everybody has to, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you have to do it your way. The wheel has to be in your vision. You must think there's something about this wheel right here that you think is important, that everyone needs, that could benefit a certain sector of the market. So plan first. If you don't write a business plan, just write some notes about what you want to sell, how much people you're going to need, what the expenses might look like, and stuff like that. When it comes to setting up the business, you can set up a business for as low as $60 here in Ontario. That's a sole proprietorship. If you go on Service Canada, you can set up a sole proprietorship, $60, set it up in one night, whatever the case may be. If you want a corporation now, it might be a little bit more, because you might have to go to a lawyer or go to an accountants do it too. And the reason, and it might run you within like a few more hundreds to maybe 1,000, maybe even 2,000. It depends on the type of corporation that you want. How much people's getting involved, what you guys are gonna do. If you guys are gonna flip homes, it might be a different type of corporation than if you're just gonna go sell ice cream, stuff like that, right? A corporation has benefits to it that the sole proprietorship doesn't have. If you're talking about legacy, the corporation is the way to go, because if I have a sole proprietorship and knock on wood, I die, someone could owe me 50 grand, but once I'm dead, that tab is null and void. Who they gonna pay? I'm dead, right? If I have a corporation and I die, they're still gonna owe that corporation money, because that corporation will be around longer than me. Like if I'm smart, I'll set up a will and leave my kids or my wife the shares of my corporation. So that person will still owe the corporation money, and that corporation will still pay my family.
Wow.
Also, with the corporation, I can go own property.
Yeah.
I don't have to have property in my name. I could just put it in the corporation's name. I can have vehicles in it. I can have equipment. I can have a building, property. I can have just land in my corporation. I can go get credit cards in my corporation. Something I can't just do in my sole proprietorship, because a corporation is a separate entity than myself, while a sole proprietorship and myself is tied. Also, a corporation can go into legally binding contracts where, even though I own the corporation, I'll just tell you a real circumstance that business owners find themselves in. You have a sole proprietorship, you get sued. That person's coming after your house, your car, your kids' tuition that you've saved, and everything. I own a corporation, I get sued. I just walk away. If I don't want to defend it, I just walk away from the corporation, go start another one. Many people don't realize that there's billionaires, there's millionaires that have left corporations, started the next corporation the next day, gone bankrupt.
The ideas are up here already.
You know what I'm saying? The corporation is just a shell of what your intentions are. You can go set up another corporation, do the same thing, and not have to worry about this anymore, this debt no more, this, like a lot. If I don't want to say anyone's name, any celebrity's name, but a lot. Donald Trump had a lot of failed corporations before, and Donald Trump is way richer than you and I, and he pays less tax than you and I as well, right? Like I said, entrepreneurs are the ones that influence the tax code.
Beautiful.
I went off point there.
No. That was beautiful. Of that. I think that's a beautiful summary, especially that last piece in terms of why entrepreneurs are so important to the economy, and why, in our community, why they need to be important is essentially they are the ones that help regulate, or I should say help push and challenge the tax code. They help challenge everything. In our community, they're the ones that can even, I guess, help push certain motives or certain
they fill voids, man.
Voids that we have.
I just want to highlight something like Uber. Uber in certain cities in Ontario, there's no public transportation.
So there's
but
Uber.
there's Uber.
So you just feel the niche.
You know what I'm saying?
So then, so
As an entrepreneur, like, you know, that's what
they feel
entrepreneurs
that
do.
gap.
Government couldn't put transportation there, but yeah, an entrepreneur came and now you guys can get around.
Uber.
You guys can go get jobs in farther places because there's Uber to get you to those jobs.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's Brother Courtney, thank you for your words of wisdom.
It's a pleasure, man.
It's so important to hear, and it's so encouraging to see another fellow brother who's feeling.
I appreciate you for having me, man.
Real talk.
I appreciate you for having me.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. And I want to say to the viewers, to the listeners, entrepreneurship is an option. It's a viable option. And why it's so important essentially is it's filling a niche in our community. So think about what niche, what void in our community do you want to fill? We talk about the gaps or we talk about the areas that oftentimes we target, which Brother Courtney has said is attached to culture. What areas do we also need to tackle? Like, subscribe, share, rebuilding the Black family. Thank you.